Hello there, and welcome to It's All About Time, yet another watch review channel, because that's the one thing we had an absolute shortage of on the internet. What am I going to be reviewing? Bit of a controversial choice, the Stührling Depthmaster 883. Why? Well, because A, I have one, and B, the reasons! Let's find out more. This is the Stührling Depthmaster. This is the case it arrives in. I have already opened this. I just wanted you to see how it comes to you. So it's just a little sleeve there, and this is the Stührling box. It's very boxy. It's quite angular. It has sides and a bottom and a top, and it's orange. Could be worse, right? At least it's not just in bubble wrap. So, all right then. So here we go. This is the watch itself. Just so that we can see everything about it, there is a little bit of preamble in the box, so you get a warranty card and a few other bits of instructions on how to use the movement. So pretty standard stuff, obviously. And so the watch itself, this is how it looks. Now, I saw this as an advert on Facebook, and I'll admit it was kind of eye-catching, and I thought, well, you know, it's clearly trying to be a Rolex, but at the same time, its price point wasn't too bad. Now, this is the point of contention with this, these kinds of watches. Is they're the affordable luxury brand watch, so are they really any good, or are they just a really, really cheap movement in an otherwise nice, flashy looking case? Well, that is entirely possible. I guess I figured there was not much to lose on this one. It wasn't too expensive. It was certainly within my price range, and I was like, you know what, I'll give it a try. So this is rated to 200 meters depth. I don't know exactly how much of that is true, how deep you would really take this thing. It is entirely possible that it will actually go that deep, but at the same time, I think if you are going to be doing deep diving, you are probably going to be using a professional watch. This is rather designed for the look rather than the functionality. A quick description of the watch itself. We have obviously a fairly plain-looking face with Mercedes hands, sort of reminiscent of Rolex. We have a date complication, and you can't really see it too well there, but a blister. Unfortunately, the light is kind of causing a bit of reflection. Hopefully you can see that in the camera. But the blister is kind of one of those things you either love or you hate. I sort of don't prefer it, but at the end of the day, it's like, I can live with it. I have plenty of other watches that that don't have that. And the bezel has a very nice, smooth and confident action about it. It doesn't feel like you're going to move that by accident, and it's 120 click unidirectional turn, so it's very, very nice. The bracelet is very nice. This is a nice smooth, it's well polished, it's quite light, which is surprising because you know, it is basically steel. And if I put this on, I have had this adjusted to my wrist, so I've had links taken out of it. That is one of the common complaints I see on some reviews of people basically saying how, you know, they had to go and get the bracelet adjusted, to which I can only say that's literally true of any watch if you buy it with a bracelet, so I'm not entirely sure what your gripe is there. But as you can see, it looks rather nice. It is a very eye-catching watch. When I first received this, I was actually on my way to the gym, and my trainer actually remarked to me, basically saying, "Wow, man, that's a nice watch." So, and he's seen me wear quite a few watches. I was like, "Oh, this whole thing, you know, this is nothing." So the point is, it is eye-catching. It has that sort of Rolex look about it, of course, which it's capitalizing on very nicely. It's a bit of a chunky old beast, but at the same time, you know, as a lot of professional divers have this particular thickness, and as you can see here, actually, I'll just undo this again so you can see, we have an exhibition back, which is somewhat nice, but also somewhat humorous, considering that the movement inside, which you can see, is a very unremarkable movement to say the least. This is a Claro CL888 movement, 18 joules, and supposed to have a power reserve of about 40 hours, which is kind of typical of most automatic movements. So the crystal on either side is this synthetic sapphire called Cristerna. Supposedly it is much more stronger than typical sapphire, but that's their claim anyway. I don't know if it is, and obviously you're not really going to take this watch down to any depth to test that, but it does mean that maybe it is a little bit more scratch resistant than your typical watch. So yeah, that's something. So, the negatives. Well, there are a few. Namely, when I first got this watch and I first pulled out the crown, what happened is that basically putting it into the first position, fine. Second position, you see, the second hand stopped, but sometimes it doesn't. So it sort of depends on, see the way that jumps there? And then now pulled it out to full position again and it's still going. So it is very inconsistent as to whether the second hand is going to stop moving. Now, it's supposed to be a non-hacking movement, which means that this the second hand should keep moving even when you pull out the crown to the second position. So sometimes when it does stop, it's like, well, why did it stop? And other times, as you see there, it actually stopped. So that's like, okay, I'm not entirely sure what is going on there. So it's a little inconsistent. Now, this is, I don't know what you could put that down to. I don't know an awful lot about mechanical movements beyond the obvious, but it's quite clear that this is a very bog standard movement. It works, and actually, in its defense, it is actually a very accurate movement. I actually had this tested at my local watchmakers, Roldorf & Co., right here in Vancouver. You can probably tell I'm Canadian from my incredibly thick Canadian accent, of course. You know, not British at all. So I live in Vancouver. They tested this on their measuring machine, and it turned out that this was only gaining +2 seconds a day. I'd like to point out that my Omega Seamaster is +5 seconds, so this is technically more accurate than my $4,000 watch. So, yeah, go figure. But anyway, there we are. So this is, you know, a fairly accurate piece. It looks good. It feels good. It's a nice, comfortable watch to wear. Now, the question, of course, is, are these companies, like, you know, are they just your typical micro brand that appears for a year or two, has a massive blowout sale, and then disappears to the winds and you never hear of them again? Well, it could be. There's certainly a few of those popping up of late. In fact, in the last 5 years, we definitely see a massive surgence of watch manufacturers that all claim to have, you know, game-changing movements and all this kind of wonderful stuff, which actually just turns out to be a whole bunch of rubbish. And, you know, realistically, it's just a nice case with a fairly unremarkable movement that might tell you the time if you're lucky. And that's on a good day. One of my biggest gripes, perhaps, about this watch is the pricing structure that they have on their website. This is shown as costing $1,900 US in its MSRP, and yet it is like, but knocked down to 380. It's like, okay, 380, huh? Yeah, from 1900. Yeah, any watch that's worth 1900 is not going to go on sale for 380 for a good legitimate reason. The reason for this is either it's just they have a lot of them and they can afford to actually sell it for what it's really worth, and which begs the question, is it really worth $380? Maybe it's only worth about $100. I honestly believe that this is kind of worth its money, but only if you can pick it up for the sort of sale price. Now, they have these sales all the time. If you look at Facebook and you find the Stührling page, they'll have, like, you know, July sale, 35% off, August sale, 50% off. So you can easily pick up a promotion code. I mean, I personally picked this one up for, I believe I paid about 300 Canadian dollars for it. So, in discussing how much is it really worth, it's hard to tell. I mean, at the end of the day, it does feel like a good high-quality case. And the movement inside, it is accurate, it does work. How long it will work is anyone's guess, and whether or not the slightest, you know, knock against a wall or whatever will jar all the springs out of position is an entirely different thing. So the longevity of this product is in question. How long will this really last? They offer a 1-year warranty, which is at least something that makes it a little bit more legitimate. If they offered one of these ridiculous sort of 8 to 10 year warranties, you'd be wondering, well, is this company even going to be around for, you know, longer than 3 or 4 years? So there we have it. This is my little review of the Stührling Depthmaster 883. I think it's a nice little watch. I don't necessarily think it's worth as much as their charge for it, so if you're going to try and pick one up, definitely try to pick one up with the coupon codes that are essentially floating around everywhere. You can find them on Facebook and probably even on their website, and if you subscribe to their newsletter, which I don't recommend, but like you can, and you can get a promo code that way. So definitely don't pick it up for the full price, because I'm not sure they are worth that much, but at the same time they might be worth a look at, and they do have some rather nice eye-catching designs. And I think if you're looking for an affordable watch that will give you a sort of nice confidence boost, I think this does that. You know, I'll give it its dues. It's a nice watch to wear. It is comfortable, and it will tell you the time. And it also comes in a nice blue, and there's also a couple of other color sets you can buy for this. And there are different flavors of the Depthmaster, and you can also get it in quartz movement, although quite frankly I'm more of a mechanical snob myself, so I would only ever get the mechanicals. So there we have it. That was my review of the Depthmaster 883. I know it wasn't an incredibly detailed review, but I have tried my best to describe my experience with this and the watch in itself. I think it's a nice watch. I'm not gonna really go out on a limb and say it's a good watch, but it is a nice watch. It's definitely eye-catching. I think it's definitely something that, you know, you wear on your wrist, you'll feel good about it. I can't say that it will last a long time, because in all honesty I've only owned it for about a month. So, you know, whereas my Seamaster has been with me since 2001, so go figure. But then again, that's the advantage of buying an actual luxury watch versus whatever the hell this is. This is budget luxury? Question mark? It's affordable, that's for sure. Yeah, so I can only say give their website a go and see what you think. Thank you very much for watching my review. I hope this gave you some of the details of the watch, a little bit of my experience, and I hope I didn't ramble too much. This is my first video of this sort of thing, so go easy on me in the comments if you decide to leave one at all. And thank you very much. See you on the next one.